Hello everyone. In the past, I already made a video that is called just regular rye bread, but I was thinking maybe I can simplify this bread and make it even more easy for everyone to bake it, because some of you might be scared of working with the dough and all that goes in it, even though it was pretty simple, but I wanted to make it even more simple. So this is my simplified rye bread version, and it's amazing because you don't even need to get your hands dirty. So I'll start with the recipe. The ingredients are a little different because the way that it's baked, so it's a little bit different twist on it, and it actually makes the bread a little bit larger. So let's start with the ingredients. You will need 4 cups all-purpose flour, 2 cups rye flour, and this is the way the combination of the flour is the way that I like it, and it's my favorite. But if you, for example, want to make only all-purpose flour, then this is a total of 6 cups, and you can just play with it. You can do whole wheat flour, or you can do more rye or less rye, so it's really up to you. You can also add seeds as you wish. I don't have any seeds except the curry seeds. So let's continue with this recipe. Then we need 3 teaspoons of salt, 3 teaspoons of curry seeds. And again, if you don't like curry seeds, you can just skip it. I know some of you don't like it. Then we need 3 teaspoons of active dry yeast and 3 cups of water. If you, for example, made my farmer's cheese recipe, you will have leftover whey. So instead of water, you can use the whey, which gives more nutrition into the bread, and it's something that you can use it up and you don't have to waste it. But for now, I have just water, and then you will need a pot that can handle high temperature. So we will bake it in a cast iron for 500 Fahrenheit, 500 degrees, so it's pretty high. And you have to, in my previous recipe actually, you could use also Dutch oven. But Dutch ovens, on my Dutch oven at least, it says that it's not recommended to be preheating without anything in it. So you cannot put this bread into non-preheated pot because it will stick. And I am saying it from experience. We couldn't get it out of the Dutch oven. So if you have Dutch oven that can be preheated, you can definitely use it. But for me, it works really well, my cast iron. And I did make a little video where I'm talking how to take care of the cast iron and little tips about baking this bread. So this is 5 quarts, just for all of you that are asking. Also, you will need mitts that can handle 500 degrees. So not all of them can, then you don't want to burn yourself. So these are actually silicone mitts, and the top is just fabric, and they're amazing. I love them so much, and I have them in my shop in a different colors, but red is my favorite. So I will put the link in the description on YouTube, so if you need some, you can get it in my store, and it's always free shipping worldwide. So let's start making this amazing recipe. You will need a bowl, and let's add 4 cups all-purpose flour, 2 cups rye flour, 3 teaspoons of salt. I like to use sea salt, 3 teaspoons curry seeds, 3 teaspoons dry active yeast. Now let's mix this all together before we add water. Let's add 3 cups of water or whey. And let's mix it all together. And we have to mix it until you don't see any or hardly see any dry spots. And every flour hydrates differently. For example, flour in the Czech Republic might hydrate differently. So you might need to add more water or add more flour. It depends how it is, but I'll show you what you are looking for, what kind of consistency. Now I don't see much of the dry flour, so this is looking good. So this is what you are looking for. And when it's done fermenting and rising, then it will actually be very big and more liquidy. So this thickness is perfect. Now I will get the rest out of the wooden spoon. And now we will have to let it rise and ferment. And I wanted to tell you a little tip that I thought of. I have here a shower cap, and this actually works perfect. And this is an extra large one. So this way you don't have to waste any Ceylon wrap or foil. So this way you can keep reusing it, and we will cover it. And it has a rubber, so it's just working really nice. So let's cover it up and look at this. And this is perfect. See how nicely it's covered. Now you will need to let it rise for a minimum of 6 hours, but I recommend up to 12 hours. 6 hours only if your house is really warm. The way that I always do it is that before I go to sleep, I just set it up, I let it ferment, and then next morning I will bake it. So this one is the one I just made, and here I have the one that was actually resting overnight. So this way I can show you right away how to bake it. So I want to also show you the difference in the size, so I will bring you closer. So let's uncover this one, just so you see the difference in size. This is a little smaller bowl. Look at this. See the difference? It's amazing, huh? So this is a difference of 12 hours. And here we will cover this one again. And this one I will bake later on when it's done rising. So let's set it aside. And now we will focus on this one. When you take the shower cap off, there might be trapped some condensation, and it is a little wet. So I recommend to let it dry before you store it. And sometimes also check if it's dirty and it might need to get washed. Before we will do anything with this one, actually I'll tell you some secret. We will not do anything with this one because this will go straight to the hot pot. So let's turn on the oven to 500 degrees. And we will put the pot and the lid in the oven to preheat, and I will show you how I do it. I just started to preheat the oven to 500 Fahrenheit, which is 260 Celsius for anyone outside of the United States. And this is how I do it. I put a pot and the lid next to it, but I also had to lower the placement of the pot, because when you put the lid on, it has to fit and had plenty of space on the top for the lid to fit in. So make sure that you have plenty of space, because when the oven is so hot, you don't want to deal with pot placement. So let's preheat it. It will take some time. The oven is preheated, so let's get the pot out and make sure to wear some good mitts so you don't burn yourself. Oh, and this is also super hot oven when you open it. Now the pot is out, and I will get my bowl with the dough. And now you will need to just put it inside of this cast iron. So I have this amazing plastic dough scraper. So I just like to prepare it ahead of time like that, and then just pop it all in. Hope you can see well. This is good. And you can also move it a little bit if you need to, just, to have it centered better. But this looks good. And now let's put the lid back on and put it back into the oven. And let's set up the timer for 40 minutes, which is different than my previous bread because this bread is bigger. 40 minutes is done, so let's take the lid off. And you can set it next to it. The bread is beautiful, and now let's bake it for another 10 minutes without the lid. So let's get the bread out of the oven. Make sure to use your silicone mitts, special oven mitts, and look at this beauty. Isn't it just amazing? And now I have here a cooling rack. I'll show you. Because we need to put the bread out to cool off, and if you leave it in the pot, it will get wet underneath. So let's get the bread out. Here are the silicone mitts. I just till it, but I till it this way. Comes out nicely, has a nice crust. It's a little darker here, but that's fine because you don't want to have it underbaked. And look at this beauty. I'll just move it to the cooling rack and listen. It's so crispy. It's just incredible. Now comes the hard part, and that's the waiting. Because you cannot slice it right now because all the inside will just curl up. So you have to let it cool off. I recommend at least half an hour, but maybe after 15 minutes you can slice a little bit just so you can have it warm, because who can resist, right? So I will wait now before I can taste test. And I cannot wait because this looks incredible. And I want to also show you the height of the bread. Can you see? Yeah, it's a beauty, and the crust is so crispy. Looks amazing, right? For being such a simple bread. So let's do some taste testing. I will get the end. I recommend actually to use a serrated knife, and bigger the teeth, as I call it, better, because this way it cuts better. Can you hear the crispiness? It's amazing sound. Oh man, it looks beautiful. I think I will bring you closer later on so you can see the cut. So let's put some butter on. It's still warm. Oh man. And I have this Irish butter, European butter, because it's the best. It has actually more fat and it's more yellow than US butter, so it's delicious. Nothing beats European butter, and it's unsalted. Wow. Guys, you have to do it. This is just out of this world. It's amazing that you don't have to travel to Europe to get this incredible bread. You can just make it at your own home. And as you see, it wasn't even hard. It was super easy. I'm just blown away by the taste. I love this rye bread. It's so delicious and just crispy when it's fresh like this. And I want to show you how you want to store it, but I think I need to bring it closer so you see the beautiful inside, how it looks. Here you see my beautiful bite with butter, and it's melting because it's still warm. And look at the air in there. And here. It's so good. And now you want to store it in a towel, clean kitchen towel. And I also like to put a little foil or wrap just to cover the cut end so it doesn't dry up. But only that. You don't want to cover all of it. And wrap it. And this way you want to store it for about few days, and because you don't want to do it longer, otherwise it will be really hard. And if you don't eat it in a few days, then you can just put it in a plastic bag. And I also made a video how to make fried bread out of this bread, so you can go check it out because it's also a very typical dish that you will find in pubs or restaurants. And I also wanted to mention that this beautiful apron is also in my shop, just if you want to get some. and there are many different designs, and I love the bow because it's so stylish. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you try this bread and if it was also as easy as it is for me. And I wish you a great rest of the day. Bye guys.